Have you ever had that gut feeling that something just doesn't add up? She says she's just going out with friends. She says she's working late. She says she's tired but still glowing with energy for someone else. And in your chest, that ache, that whisper, something isn't right. Listen, if you've ever been in that position, I want you to stay with me until the end of this video. Because today, I am not just going to give you 5 excuses women often use when they race secretly meeting another man. I am going to break down the psychology behind each one. By the end of this, you won't just know the excuses, you'll understand the mindset behind them. And once you understand that, you'll never be left in the dark again. So buckle up. This is going to be deep. And the last one? It's the most shocking of all. Let's be real for a second. Being lied to hurts. Not because of the words themselves, but because of the betrayal behind them. Think about it. You trust someone. You give them your time, your energy, your love. And then one day, things just don't add up. The little details start clashing. She says she was too busy to reply, but somehow she's active on social media. She says she was out with the girls, but she comes home smelling like cologne that isn't yours. And you start questioning yourself. Am I crazy? Am I overthinking? Maybe it's just me being insecure. No, you're not crazy. You're not broken. And you're definitely not alone. Most people never notice the small shifts in behavior, the subtle patterns. But after today, you will. You'll see the psychology behind the mask. Now, you might be asking, why should I even care about the excuses? Why not just wait for the truth to come out? Here's why. Human beings reveal themselves not by their truths but by their lies. Psychology has shown that when people lie, they don't invent something completely random. Instead, they borrow pieces of reality, sprinkle in just enough truth, and hide the lie inside it. And here's the kicker: most people believe the excuse not because it's logical, but because they want to believe it. That's why this matters. Because once you can see through the excuses, you don't just see what she's saying, you see what she's hiding. And trust me, that knowledge gives you power. The power to stop doubting yourself, the power to stop living in confusion, and the power to make clear, confident decisions. Alright, let's dive into the 5 excuses women use when they're secretly meeting another man. The first one is, I'm just hanging out with friends. Sounds innocent, right? Everyone hangs out with friends. But here's the psychology. When someone uses friends as a cover, they're relying on the fact that friendship is socially unquestionable. If you press too hard, you risk sounding controlling. Imagine this. She grabs her bag, tells you she's meeting the girls for dinner. But when you ask which friend, she's vague. When you ask what restaurant, she says, oh, I don't remember. We'll figure it out. That vagueness? That's a red flag. Because real plans are specific. Lies are foggy. If she consistently hides behind friends, but can't offer details, it's not about the friends. It's about the secrecy. The second excuse is, I have to work late. Now, this is one of the most common excuses. Why? Because work is universal. Nobody questions hustle. But here's the psychology. When people use work as a cover, they're banking on the assumption that you won't double check. It's an authority excuse, a lie wrapped in the cloak of responsibility. She tells you she's staying late for a project, but she comes home dressed like she just left a party, not an office. Her hair's perfect, her energy's buzzing. Work doesn't usually leave people energized. It drains them. When work starts sounding more like a party pass than actual labor, trust your gut. The third excuse is, I just needed some time alone. This one's tricky because it appeals to your empathy. Who doesn't need alone time, right? But here's the psychology. People often use solitude as a shield because it's uncheckable. You can't follow her into her alone time. It creates a bubble of privacy where anything can happen. She says she's going for a long drive to clear her head, but when you notice the passenger seat is adjusted, or she's dressed like she's going on a date, not a drive, you start to realize alone wasn't really alone. Alone time is healthy. But if alone always means untraceable gaps of hours, something's off. The fourth excuse is, I'm going shopping or running errands. Another classic. Shopping is the perfect excuse because it's unpredictable. Nobody knows how long it'll take. But here's the psychology. Shopping creates a built-in time buffer. It's the ultimate flexible excuse. She leaves at p.m., says she's just picking up a few things. Hours later, she strolls back in with nothing but a tiny bag, or worse, nothing at all. And when you ask, she shrugs it off. Oh, they didn't have what I needed. Pay attention not to the excuse but to the pattern. If errands always take suspiciously long with little to show, that's your clue. And then there's the last one. I'm tired, I just need to rest. And this, my friend, is the most dangerous one. Why? Because it closes the door on questions. She says she's tired, and you being caring back off. You give her space. But here's the psychology. Sometimes tired is not about rest, it's about shutting down suspicion. She comes home, says she's too exhausted to talk, to connect, to even cuddle. But somehow, her phone lights up at midnight. Suddenly, she's awake. Suddenly, she's smiling at a screen while you're left wondering. Tired isn't always about sleep. Sometimes it's about avoiding intimacy because her energy is being spent elsewhere. Now here's where most people go wrong. They either ignore the signs completely or confront aggressively, demanding answers. Both backfire. Ignore it, and you live in denial. Confront too harshly, and you push her deeper into secrecy. The truth, the real power lies in observation, in staying calm, in letting the facts speak louder than your fears. Because psychology tells us, liars trip on their own lies when the listener stays calm and consistent. So let me speak to your heart right now. I know this hurts. I know the idea of betrayal feels like fire in your chest. But listen closely. This isn't about catching someone, it's about valuing yourself enough to see clearly. No more guessing, no more confusion, no more sleepless nights replaying the same words. You deserve honesty, you deserve loyalty, you deserve peace. And once you see through the excuses, you stop living in her story and you start living in your truth. So what do you do with this knowledge? Observe, don't accuse. Watch patterns, not one-off events. Psychology is about consistency. Ask calm, open-ended questions. Instead of, "Are you lying?" ask, "Who did you go with?" A liar reveals themselves under calm curiosity. Trust behavior over words. Words lie, patterns don't. And finally, decide your worth. If excuses keep piling up, you have to ask yourself, do I want to live like this? Because here's the truth. Sometimes the biggest breakthrough isn't in catching the lie, it's in walking away from the person who needed to tell it. So let's bring this full circle. The 5 excuses women use when secretly meeting another man are: I am just with friends. I have to work late. I just need some time alone. I'm running errands. And I'm tired. But the bigger truth? Excuses are never about the excuse. They're about avoidance. They're about hiding. And once you see that, once you truly see it, you'll never be played the same way again. Remember this. You are not powerless. You are not crazy. And you are not unworthy of real love. So if this video gave you clarity, if it opened your eyes, I want you to do 2 things. Hit that like button so more people can find this message. And subscribe, because I promise you I will keep giving you the tools to understand psychology, relationships, and most importantly, yourself. And before you go, drop a comment. Which excuse have you seen the most in your life? I read every single one. Stay strong, stay awake, and never forget you deserve the truth.